Christopher Nolan is known for making films with an ending that leaves you in shock and confusion. Whether it's one of his old films like Doodlebug, which he made in 1997, or one of his 21st century films such as Inception, which was made in 2010. What makes Nolan's films so thought-provoking is his use of an unreliable narrator. An unreliable narrator is a narrator that is not trustworthy, meaning that the audience must take every event they go through being conscious of the fact that it might not be happening the way it is being shown on screen. In a film that uses an unreliable narrator, the audience must be aware that they are not seeing everything in the story. As mentioned before, he has used this filmmaking tactic since 1997 in a short film named Doodlebug. In Doodlebug, we are introduced to the narrator right off the bat, as his eyes were used in the title. The narrator is a man that is looking for something, and he is very nervous. He goes around the small setting, hitting different areas with his shoe, implying that he is trying to squish a bug that is running around his room. However, when the bug is revealed, it appears to be a tiny version of him. It is also clear that he starts to mimic the moves that the miniature version of himself makes. When the man finally squashes his miniature self, we see a larger version of himself appear behind him and squash him as well. Because this is not something normal that would occur in real life, it leaves the audience to interpret the story rather than have it be told to them because they realize they cannot trust the narrator. In his 2000 film, Memento, the narrator Leonard is unreliable due to his anterograde amnesia, which is a form of short-term memory loss. The entire story is portrayed through Leonard's eyes, however there are times where the audience knows more than the narrator because of his form of amnesia. Right off the bat, Leonard shoots Teddy in the opening scene, and the audience, along with Leonard, is convinced that Teddy was the one who killed Leonard's wife, given the facts. Because of his amnesia, Leonard has Polaroids with captions, tattoos, and notes to remind him after his memory clears again. The fact that led Leonard to killing Teddy was simply a Polaroid photo that said,
"Teddy, don't believe his lies. He is the one. Kill him."
We are then introduced to a character named Natalie, who Leonard trusts. As an audience, we are bound to trust the narrator and his judgment. However, as the story continues, we learn more about the characters and what their intentions really are, and how Leonard is repeatedly being manipulated.
Sad freak. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and you won't remember. We'll still be best friends. Or maybe even lovers.
Write this down. Write down what happened. Write it down. Write it down. Come on. Concentrate. Take your mind. Find a pen. What happened?
What does it look like? He beat the shit out of me.
Who?
Who? Fuck Leonard. Dodd beat the shit out of me.
We also learn that we cannot trust Leonard nor his notes due to his limited memory. The tool of an unreliable narrator once again adds extreme depth to the film as it allows the audience to interpret the story, and we are left with 1,000 questions in our minds. The Prestige, a 2006 film, involves two unreliable narrators, Alfred Borden and Robert Angier. These two were magicians and were originally friends, working for a man named Cutter. The movie starts with a scene demonstrating the death of Angier's wife, which is later blamed on Borden and is the main reason why they stopped being friends. The two narrators, Borden and Angier, become separate magicians and try to be better than the other. The story is told through the diaries of both magicians. However, the narrators are extremely unreliable because they are magicians, and magicians never tell us the truth, always trying to pull off a trick. The movie in itself is like a magic trick being pulled on the viewer. Inception, made in 2010, involves a narrator whom can enter into other people's dreams. He uses this power to steal ideas deep from his victim's subconscious. The unreliable narrator tool is established almost from the beginning of the film. Cobb, the narrator, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, struggles to separate one mental state from another, so he cannot tell when he is in a dream or when he is in reality, especially when he interacts with his dead wife. The mental state of Cobb is compared to the use of drugs and how it is getting out of control, which is something you would say about an addiction. Overall, the mental state of the characters give the audience an interesting story to interpret and question. In conclusion, Christopher Nolan is one of the best at using the tool of the unreliable narrator, ranging from Doodlebug, one of his first known films, to Inception, and many, many more. The tool adds dramatic effect to the film and gives freedom to the viewer to interpret and question the story.